Hola. How you how you doing bath time?
I'm in a smashing mood, Mr. B. I'm full of energy, hope for the channel. Really, really well balanced and mellow tonight. That's how I'm feeling. How are you feeling?
Not better than you.
Yeah.
We do it one day. Sign language, yeah, that's cool. The dogs are there. I understand.
I hope with a
Perfect.
lot
Look,
of our viewers.
Guys. I didn't know. I'm not sure you knew I understood sign language. That actually means the dogs are barking. My housemate is up. She will be soon, and I will be back, guys. A man of many tricks. Anyway, look, let's get on with it. Bath time.
Yes.
Ugarte, this deal is dragging on. We've now heard from the shout. People are all reporting it that a loan deal is possible. Now, I always thought that this would have been a good idea. I assumed it would have meant that we could have got the Ugarte deal done and then maybe bought somebody else to bring somebody else in. A lot of people don't seem too happy with it. Am I wrong? Am I wrong in my thinking?
I think all right, regardless of if it's a transfer or not, we've been doing far too many loan deals for a club of our size. Like sort of Sabitzer, Amrabat, that keeper from Newcastle, Region, even all the way back to players like Ugarte. Not Ugarte. Who was your man from Watford? The Igalo.
Yeah, Carlo. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't think that that's really how you should operate as a big club. My understanding, I haven't really looked at the news too much. My understanding is that to give us a bit of breathing room in terms of cash flow, PSG are saying, well, like, look, the 7 or 8 million we're haggling over, just take him on loan with an obligation to buy, and you can do it next season. But I am against all these loan signings. I think our players should be our players, and we should stop these half measures.
You know what? I disagree. I think we've got to go with the times. I think sometimes a loan deal, like Amrabat last season, we didn't want to sign him. That would be a mistake to sign somebody full without actually looking at them first. So we see a lot of players go to smaller clubs in the league. It turns out they actually can perform in the Premiership, and then we end up signing them because you don't know until you give them the acid test of playing in the Premier League. So I think when we get someone on loan, like Amrabat, for example, he's not tied to a contract at the moment because the assessment, I think all of us would agree. I'm going to ask you, would you want him on a full-time contract, the guy that you called a Shetland pony? But we had time to assess him and we could say goodbye at the end of it. So even though I think big clubs do have loans, you see Morata, Bath time, someone you admire as a player.
Yeah,
he's gone to several clubs for short-term measures, but he's got good quality and he can do a job. So I don't think there's much wrong in it. Initially, I was like, no, we shouldn't do that. We, too uppity. Like, let's say we're Man United, we shouldn't do that. But I can see the benefit of having a loan signing. And if Ugarte, especially Ugarte, we need a midfielder. We've identified him. There's been a few concerns about the price and negotiation. It's started the season now. We're into the season. We need to make an offer, whether we do a signing or a loan deal. Let's get him at the club and then we can assess him. It might turn out at the end of the season that we think, phew, we got away with one here by getting him on loan because maybe he wasn't good enough because he's never played in the Prem.
Yeah, but it's going to be with an obligation to buy though on Monday.
So an obligation?
Yeah, it's going to be.
The obligation meaning that we have to buy him?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Oh, forgive me. I didn't realise that, Mr. B.
But on the other hand, when you talk about, like, we got Amrabat in, we looked at him, he did okay, contributed to a very good result in the FA Cup final. We didn't think he was good enough, so we let him go. We paid £10 million for that privilege. Like, loan signings are expensive. Like, I don't know what is going on at Chelsea. They've signed like João Felix, or is it like 45 million? I believe. Did they not pay 16, 20 million to get him on loan last year? Like, loans can be extremely expensive, and they also come, I believe, with like sort of financial guarantees where if the player doesn't play a certain amount of games, he can, like, you have to pay a fine, as it were. Certainly for like the non-reserve players. But I think that I just think, like you say, like Atletico Madrid, Juventus with Morata. But what about Arsenal? What about Liverpool? What about Manchester City? The clubs are in competition with. Like, do you see them doing these things? Like, we tried to get Gravenberch on loan as well. Lost out to Liverpool on that, and he was a Golden Boot in the Euros and looking good for this season.
Gravenberch, Golden Boot.
Was it
Gakpo?
Oh,
Gakpo. We wanted both of them on loan, didn't we?
Hold on, Gakpo's not even. He's not even playing for Liverpool, is he?
Yeah, he plays for Liverpool, but
no. Has he played? Didn't?
Oh.
I have no idea if he played over the weekend.
Yeah, but we wanted both of those players, and we tried to get them on loan. And I just don't think it's a very good way to sort of like manage the football club. And the obligation to buy is essentially you're buying on higher finance. You get it now and paying for it later, and that doesn't always work out well.
What do you think about the obligation to buy? I didn't know that was part of the clause, but if we obliged to buy someone, and it turns out we're looking at him in loan, and we realise maybe he's not good enough, or maybe the manager gets sacked, and a new manager comes in and says we don't want this guy.
It's a really good point.
What happens then?
It's a legal obligation to buy.
So why don't we? Okay. I don't think that's a good idea. I think there should be an option to buy. They don't have another deal where they can say we have a set price at the end of it. There's two sorts. There's obligation to buy, and there's also one we say.
Don't forget they want their money. You got to think about it. They actually want their money guaranteed. Do you know what we haven't done?
What's that?
We haven't even spoken. We haven't even done the comments.
Okay. All right. Shall we do a few comments and say hello?
Yeah, let's get them in. So let's get some houses and see what their opinions are.
Yeah. Can we? No point for a poll or anything, is there? But it's interesting discussion, isn't it? Bart, serious fan in the house. Sorry, Bart fan. Go on.
I will log in now to do a poll for you. What do you want to ask?
So about loan. I mean, about loan signings. What should we loan someone with the obligation to buy if he turns out to be poor? With Ugarte, is that a risk?
Good question.
Yeah, but then the thing is, you say it's a risk. They should have the fact that we've run him down for majority of the summer. He's really been the first choice midfielder. I don't see how they could get it wrong in regards to the players, because that means they haven't done this. Yeah, but that was more out of desperation at Amrabat. This is somebody who you would like to think that they've actually scouted properly, and he is exactly what they want.
Okay. Let's touch on the comments then, because we can hear some speed typing from our secretary Bath time. So, guys, make sure you check out the poll and have a vote. What are your thoughts on this loan situation? Bart, serious fan in the house, talking about Ugarte. We'll always have Paris. As you can read there. Big up to Solo. We spoke to Solo today. We'll speak to you again, Solo. Heart compressions, as always. You loved giving them out. You've done your first aid course and you're showing off there, Solo. Big up to you. So Vincent Bullock is in the house. I said that correctly. How you doing, Vincent? Vincent, you're on my Facebook now, and welcome to my Facebook world. And I look forward to seeing funny photos of you with our top players at Man United, yeah, because that's what you do. King Dino saying bath time balanced. Are you sure? Simon Warner saying greetings to three wise men. Hope your day were well. Simon, I hope yours was equally as good as ours. We've got Simon Warner again saying we never gave Pellistri a chance. No wonder this happened. Has Pellistri gone? I didn't know about this. Big up Matthew Bassett. He said hi everyone. Matthew Bassett, we respect you. We love you. I want to see how you get on this season, Matthew Bassett. I want to see you play football. So hopefully you can come down one time and play a charity game with us. Agile Beast is saying here, it'll take a couple of hours, a couple of transfer windows until we can actually generate the cash. When we buy smart, it's when we buy younger, smarter signings on sensible contracts and we can sell them if it don't work fully out. That's a good comment regarding signings. Rajat in the house saying hi. Ten Hag says Simon Warner was going to wait until deadline day to see if he can get Ugarte at a reasonable price. And franchises work differently than turning a football club into a business. King Dino, that is. Vincent Bullock saying here, we actually sold Fred for 15 million to pay for Amrabat to come alone. On loan, I think it means. He went for 6 million, says Rajat. Personally,
no, I think he's referring to Pellistri there.
Oh, okay. All right. So Pellistri went for 6 million. He's left the club then. I didn't know that. King Dino saying here, personally, I'm not concerned about the wording for the deal offered for Ugarte. He'll be a fantastic signing. So let's go get him. Big up to Andrew Williams in the house as well. Just before we sign, Double A is here saying 8.5 up front and the £51 million deal. They must think he's worth it if they sanction the signing. Andrew's saying to Darius with the lights out, it's less dangerous here. No, entertainers. Okay. And everything's been said already, but there you go. That's the guys in the comments. There's the poll up.
So sorry, yeah.
Is up. So I said loans. Yes, get them in, worry later. No, let's get on a financial footing. 86% have gone, let's get them in, worry about it later.
Okay.
Is that bad? Because look, we're trying to
transfers, Mr. B, these people. they're addicts for just getting a new player in.
No, you know what? The fact that we're not losing Casemiro. Look, Casemiro's not going to go anywhere. I think if we can get him in, even if it's on loan, all right, we're talking about deferring. We're going to be in the Champions League next season, so we'll be able to pay whatever we do this season. We're going to be able to pay for. So I think we should do it, and then we can probably sign an extra player after that.
Right, I don't like Only Fools and Horses particularly, Mr. B. But one thing that they always seem to say is this time next year we're going to be millionaires, and they never are.
I last season I didn't have the confidence half time. I am so convinced that we're finishing top four. So convinced that we're getting Champions League this year that I don't see a problem. Honestly, I don't. I'm normally that one who's a bit more, but I think I'm quite positive this is all right. I don't expect to beat Brighton, but I do expect to beat Liverpool. So yeah, I'm a lot more positive than I've been, and I just think we're a different animal this year. That's all. And if we do get Ugarte, well, I don't care how we get him in. They want 60 million. We don't want to pay 60 million, but we have done some very, very good deals this summer. So if it means that of the 5 that we've got in, we feel like we're getting bumped on one, accept it. We're not at that level yet where we can, steamroll at everybody. We don't have that power anymore, and maybe that power is never going to come back to us. But if we can get this deal done, it makes us stronger, and then it puts us in the position to qualify for the Champions League next season. Let's be honest, we've got Casemiro winning. As much as he's done well, I'm still expecting. I don't expect him to put on weight and get fat. He looks like he's worked hard in the summer.
Yeah,
he looks like he's come back serious, but it's still Casemiro, and he can't do the whole season on his own.
Yeah,
So if Ugarte coming in on loan is what it takes, that then improves us this season, and then he pays for it for next season.
Yeah, I mean, I've got no issues about anything you said there. I think that Casemiro has been pretty impressive. Like, he looks more like the player that I thought that we were getting in. He's been on the Ozempic, which is a massive plus for us. But my issue is I'm of the opinion that Ugarte is not a particularly good midfielder. I think that buying him for roughly the same price that PSG got him for, after he absolutely bombed in the Champions League, especially against Newcastle United, who are a team that we would want to be beating. He was eaten alive in those games. He's not a number 6, and I don't think that Casemiro is a number 6 anymore. I think he does his better work the further up the pitch he is. With he sort of has a better understanding of the spaces to fill, and he's got a nice variety of passing that can get the ball through, as we saw, like that outside of the foot to Delo, or that little combination he played with Mount and Bruno. So, in terms of a number 6, what my concern is that we're spending next month's paycheck, And when it gets to next month, we're going to be in a similar position where we don't have like a full-on like number 6, because that is not Ugarte. People are talking about him being a defensive monster who like wins all his duels. He's not. He's poor at most things except for interceptions, and he's probably a very good presser. But we need him. Sorry, you're muted. Okay.
Bath time.
Hello.
I respect what you're saying, but I cannot believe that they're going to get this one wrong.
What? Because they got so many others right?
Yeah.
Well, who have they got right in midfield?
Well, no, I'm not talking about midfield. I'm just talking about I'm talking about this season. The business.
Who have they got right before about just midfield? The
season.
They've done well.
This season, they've done well. Transfer wise, Bath time. They've done well this season.
I think that our glaring problem is a number 6, and it has been for a while. And we can say that they've done well, and they have done well. Like Mazraoui looks really good. Xerxes gives us something different. De Ligt, I'm not so sure about. I think Maguire was outstanding at the weekend in a better system. But the thing is the number 6 is really, really important. And to just address what Keen Dino is saying, it turned out we did use Amrabat fullback when he came in, as I wanted, because we thought that Casemiro was going to be able to play as a number 6, dominating aerial and ground duels and covering ground. And that's what you need from a number 6. I don't think that that's Ugarte, and I think our team struggles so much because we don't have that player, and it should have been the number 1 priority. Like, if you go through our team, I will accept you saying a striker is number 1 priority because it's just Højlund. We lost Martial, but I think a defensive midfielder had to be either number 1 or number 2, and we haven't got like a real proper one in. So I do think that we got a lot of window dressing without the main course.
Can I go to what the comments are saying about this? It's good discussion. I want to give my 2 cents as well about this as well. So Simon Warner is saying here, now, are we going for anyone else? Is Braithwaite the matter dead and buried? Then it's gone extremely quiet there. He's talking about the Everton striker. This is something, side note, you mentioned something about only 40 horses. So Andrew was saying, what you in classic British comedy, Bath time?
He put up a list that I'd agree with.
I'm coming to it now.
Okay.
United need at least 2 midfielders, said Bar, and to even finish in the top 4 is a stretch, because Mr. B was saying we'd finish the top 4.
We're finishing above bloody Liverpool.
Ooh.
That's one game, Mr. B. Let's see where we are in October.
Mr. B is full of chest today.
Yeah.
Double A saying here, was just thinking that too, Mr. B. So he agrees with what you were saying. Quick list of classic comedies, British comedies, what Andrew likes. We could add to that.
Left one off. Yes, Minister is probably my favourite British.
You like that humour. That's good. That's pretty funny. Simon Warner saying we need another back 4 player and a striker and sell Sancho. Also heard a rumour that Sancho was going to Chelsea. Is that just
who said that?
Simon Warner. He's using your wording. I'm not going to say the word, but it's a new one that could stick on the show. It's Vincent saying here, I'm a bit worried. What if they bring in the rule where you've got to have homegrown talent playing in your team, and we are selling our homegrown talent?
We Bailey's going to be in our team for the next bloody 100 years. We ain't got nothing to worry about there.
Double A saying here, after the last few seasons we've had, I think most fans will forgive Ineos for 140 signing. That's what Mr. B said earlier. 1 out of 5 ain't bad. List of Coventies you've missed out.
Oh yes, Minister. Nice.
Yep, Rising Damp is not there, so I think you're.
What's your favourite, Mr. B?
To be fair, Rising Damp was quite funny. I like Rigsby. You know what it is? I like politically incorrect ones in it. So the ones that I like, you know, just maybe I'll just keep them to myself, to be fair. But the politically incorrect ones are the ones that I find really, really funny.
Is that stuff
too
like
much.
bottom?
No. I'm more talking before bottom stuff like
Mrs. Brown's boys,
yes,
Mr. B's boys,
Steptoe and Son, and all of those type ones. That era of comedy is what I like. The new one, Mr. Brown's. What's that one? Mr. Brown's.
Mrs. Brown's boys. It's
Oh, that's the one that
Irish
like the
men.
one that dress up as the man who dressed up as a woman.
As the Gran, yeah.
Yeah, no, I can't watch
It's
that.
awful.
Yeah, I can't watch that. I'll be honest, I can't watch that. Them things, they don't really appeal to me, to be fair.
I think Open All Hours is a nice, warm.
Oh, that was funny. That was quite fun. Oh yeah, what's in there? Here, that was good. Yeah, just
was,
the older ones.
Bill Boy was in that as well with Ronnie Baker.
Barker.
Ronnie Barker. Yeah. Anyway, we come back to that. I love that. I love these discussions about classic things.
We'll do it.
Blackadder. I saw Blackadder in there.
Yeah,
oh my
god.
God.
Yeah.
Blackadder. Yeah, that was a good one. Anyway, look, sorry, we're talking about football.
Saying here, bath time is way off the mark with Ugarte. Because bath time sort of said maybe there's a few doubts, just like he was when he said that we should use Amrabat at fullback. We just touched that already. I thought we need to talk. You want to talk? You want to boost it or something? But there's none around. There's no one like Rodri. Literally one or a few left in the game. So it's maybe a difficult position to get.
There was a Nana. There was a Nana on the market. I think he was the one we've missed out on. The guy that went to Villa.
Do you?
Yeah, I really do. He like 6'4", brilliant in the air, great at ground duels, can cover his ground, is available a lot of the season, like fluent in English to a hilarious level, like speaks like a roadman from Belgium. Like I really think that of the players on the market that was available, he should have been the guy that we went for first.
Okay, loads of comments. Let's just touch them. I'm going to be really quick with this. Darius is right, says Andrew, talking about De Ligt and Xerxes. And Vince is saying here, bloody bath time, talking about food. Now you're making me hungry, but what happened to the starter? The window dressing, says Andrew as well. That's what bath time was talking about our transfers this summer. Where does Collier fit into our midfield plan, says Bart? Good question. Simon's saying here, is Tony still an option for us? Good question again. Blackadder, obviously, King Dino's dropped on that. Steptone's son was class, says Andrew Williams. Hello is brilliant. Mrs. Brown.
Yeah.
Simon Warner. Want to say all the way from Manhattan, New York. Obviously, he's based in Ealing. My friend, my school buddy, Damien Walsh. Hope you're having a lovely time out there in New York. Big up and thanks for tuning in. I don't know what time is, but thank you. Talk about Anana. Andrew's saying here, Anana is a bugger. He can get up and down. I thought a midfield six supposed to stick. Tony's going to Saudi, and we start Zizi, which is our guy Xerxes on Saturday, says Simon. There you go. Can I give my 2 cents?
Please.
Yeah. I think they're right. I know you said about Ugarte. I'm not entirely convinced about him either, but it's a specialist position that we need. We've been waiting for a long time. I think there are not many top quality guys that can play that position really well. If you look at the best teams, who's the best teams in England right now? Man City, Arsenal, and Liverpool possibly.
Man United.
Liverpool had Fabinho. I thought he was a good guy in that position. They've sold him now. It didn't last out. And then you've got Man City. You've obviously got Rodri, and Arsenal.
Partey, Stones and Jorginho
and Partey, yes, who are goodish guys, you know. So it is a difficult position. I'm just a bit concerned about Ugarte. Has he got, like you said about the Newcastle game, has he got the physicality? Can he handle it? And that's why I think the loan deal, what we started the show with about loan deals and the benefits of that, I think loan deal without obligation would be good, because that way he can come, have a look, we can have a look at him and see if he's all that's the scouting reports are saying, suggesting that he would be a good fit. So I wouldn't want to take a risk of paying 50 million for someone we're not sure about. And it's interesting when you say about Anana, we've seen him play in the Premiership, and we've seen what he could do, and for was 50 million, and we've kind of let that one go by the wayside. So it's really a tough position to get. I really pray and hope that Ugarte, if we do get him on loan or he does play for us, that we see that the scouts were actually right about him, because we can't really. I don't think we were really completely qualified to watch French football or watch sport in Lisbon every single game. We don't have access to that, you know.
Mr. B knows someone who does, though.
Who does?
His friend from another show. He's got great scouting knowledge. But
I'm not going to
ask. This is.
I'll put it in the chat.
This is something that concerns me, right? On Monday is that against who did we play? Fulham. Against Fulham, the person on our team that won the most duels by a country mile was Kobe. My concern is that Ugarte, like let's say Casemiro isn't playing every game, and we end up with a midfield of Kobe, Ugarte, and Mount playing, like starting and playing the most, which, you know, 2 Ten Hag signings, to, you know, the marquee signings of each summer, and one of the most promising homegrown players we've produced since 1992. My concern is that Kobe is going to default into a deeper role because he is the best defensively. And I think that Kobe should be near the goal as possible. So when you think back to like that Liverpool team that had Wijnaldum, Henderson, and Fabinho, none of them are particularly good ball players, but what they are very, very good at is like winning individual duels and running around a lot, which is really important. And they were strong. Ugarte is not strong. Mount is not strong, but Mainu is. And I really worry that in order to get our team running properly, we have to we're going to have to play Kobe as the deepest, because he's the one you can trust the most physically. And that's what concerns me about the Ugarte signing, is I think Berg was probably a better signing because he's more traditionally strong in the air at ground duels and things.
What about, I know we're talking about the physical factor with these number 6s, but we've seen 2 little short guys, the Neves guy that went to PSG from Benfica, and the other Portuguese guy from Porto who went to PSG. Vitinho, is it?
Vitinho, yeah.
Yeah, and these guys don't have the physicality, but they can control games in a good side, being small. And
do you think that can work in the Premier League, though?
Well, this is what I'm getting to. So there's 2 types of number 6s. I think Rodri fulfills everything because he can control games like that, and he's got the physicality. So when I'm looking at Ugarte, I'm thinking, okay, we refuse Neves, or a lot of like the eye test and us on the show that, well, maybe he's a bit too small, maybe you need a bit more physicality for that sort of thing to be in that role in the Premiership. You know, maybe it's not going to work. But we've seen Martinho, who's a player I think is class technically, play for Wolves in Premier League.
Yeah.
He's only about 5'6" or 7. He's tiny, but he can hold the ball well, keep the ball. If I know you're saying about Mainu maybe doing that job because he's got the ability to do that because he's a good footballer, but don't we have to have something not just about the physicality aspect? Don't we also have to have the side where they can pick up the ball from defence in the first phase of play without getting pinched, so they're press resistant?
Honestly, Amonde, that's one of the easiest things to do as a midfielder. Everyone makes out it's really difficult, but it's not. That's the simplest part. The hardest part is being effective high up the pitch. The more effective you are lower down the pitch, isn't that? It doesn't really weigh very much. I mean, I'll give you an example, which is Fiorentina played West Ham in the final of the Conference League, and Amrabat and Rice were playing, and everyone said that Amrabat bossed the game. He was much better than Rice. He was literally sitting in a back three, shuttling the ball about. And it's not that difficult. And when you speak about Man City's midfield, like Man City's sort of pivot, or their first choice pivot, is Rodri and Stones. Rodri and Stones win over 80% of their headers, right? And that's so important for them because they play high up the pitch, and that ball is going to get banged up because of their press, and they've got to win it in the air. If United are going into a really, really sort of like strong press, Ugarte losing 2 out of 3 headers is not going to cut it in the number 6 position at all. He's on 30%. Rodri's on 80% for headed duels, regardless of all the passing and all that stuff. That's far too much for like your number 6. So, like King Dean, they're saying I underestimate Ugarte's physical abilities. I know he loses 2 out of 3 headers, and that is enough for me to say he's not a number 6, because it's like in tennis. If you can't return the first serve, it doesn't matter what else you're doing. First thing first, you've got to get the ball over the net before you can begin playing.
Look, I just want to go back to what you're saying there. I do think it's a difficult thing to do. You're saying midfield's supposed to do that, but there's not many. The whole point is there's not many good number 6s in the game that have the total package. Like
Yeah,
Rodri.
okay, yeah.
So someone like Busquets, we've seen that in recent years. He's sort of revolutionised the position, from being robust and that sort of thing and tackling. He's very, very good at receiving the ball, from the defence and building up the play and 1-2 touch football, or, just carrying it around, ghosting past people. So he's an exceptional player, but no one's come along who's similar to that. So I don't know. I think to be a good number 6, you need to be physical for one, have those attributes, but you also need to be able to receive the ball. And I think sometimes we talk about McTominay, there's question marks about him, or midfielders getting pinched because they don't have that aspect of the game. But you just said, Bath time, there are players that have that. Frankie de Jong, there's a guy that I think would have been perfect.
All right, okay.
He's not the most physical, but man, he knows how to receive a ball deep and build up the play and drive past players with ease. So I think there's a combination of things that we need to have a complete player. And
okay, can I just clarify?
Last point, with the graphs that you have, with all the physical, with the spiky circle chart, which shows a player's attributes. I wonder what Rodri's looks like, and that's what you should be seeking to have out, not just technical stuff, but physical as well. That's the complete number 6 that we were looking for.
Okay, all right. So what I think, this is what you're telling me, is that there are very few number 6s of the quality of Rodri on the market. Okay, even like a player like Frankie de Jong is nowhere near as complete a package as Rodri, because he's got the physicals, he's got the passing, he's got all these things. So in order to sort of compensate for that, we have to play double pivots, where we have players that sort of that kind of make up the aggregate, as it were. So most teams will play a double pivot because it's very rare to get players like Busquets, Rodri, etc., that can do the 6 job by themselves. All right, I'm with you on this. My problem is that the double pivot that Manchester United can make, I don't think that there's a natural match with anyone there. Because Casemiro, I don't think he can recover space well enough. Like, i.e., people can run past him and he's going to go to ground. Mainu is actually really competent in all duels, can progress the ball, can pick it up. So he's the natural part of that double pivot. But what we need next to him is someone who can bring far more physicality than he can, that can help us defend from sort of set pieces, can win the ball in the air, can also share the fouling and things. I don't think that there's anyone in our squad that can complement Mainu like that, as well as being able to get ahead of Mainu to give him a bit more time and space on the ball. Do you remember that run that McTominay made to sort of give Bruno the puck? Like someone who can sort of get up and down. And I feel that this is what Ineos, their first target should have been, was to get the midfield complement to Mainu. If they think it's Ugarte, that's great, but I just don't think that his defensive capabilities are good enough, and certainly his on the ball stuff is not good enough. So this is why I'm really concerned with this transfer. With Berg or Berge or the Burger or whatever he's called, there's question marks about lots of things, but I think that he and Mainu together would have formed a really good double pivot. And that's kind of where I'm sitting at the moment, is that I don't think that there's any player in the squad, and with Ugarte coming in, that really makes an effective double pivot with Kobbie Mainoo.
Look, we can only wait and see. Let's get it done. Let's get him in by whatever means necessary, and then, come December we can have this conversation again. You know, I'm more convinced that they're going to get it right than wrong.
Right, can we have a pact then that in the first game that Ugarte plays, if he goes and picks it up off a centre back and then passes it to a fullback, we all don't cream our pants about it because it's genuinely much easier to do than people make out. Like anyone can do that.
I expect the people in my Saturday team to be able to do that. Let's not get it twisted. So let's. I'm expecting him to be. I'm not going to say a better version of Casemiro. I just expect him to be able to deal with space a lot better than Casemiro deals with. I'm not sure he's going to be better on the ball than Casemiro because Casemiro's quite cute. But there's going to be games, and it might be games where Casemiro's the one who plays the 8 and Ugarte sits in the 6. You know what I mean? I would just like to be able to have variety in there without it being Mason Mount. On Mason Mount, I know we haven't even spoke about Pellistri yet. How much touches did you know? Everybody was talking how great he did, but Mason Mount had 15 passes in the game on Saturday.
Yeah.
And made 11 of them. Those McTominay numbers.
Yes, and they're also Kobe Minu numbers when he plays as the right-sided midfielder, because your job is not to be on the ball. Like, you can put anyone in that position and they're not gonna do more than 25 passes a game, because that's not what the position is about.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to say
bollocks.
Exactly the same
thing. At least you're consistent, Mr. V, because I said this last season with McTominay when he wasn't involved in the game very much, and then I made a big issue with the fact that Kobe came into the game as the right-sided central midfielder, and I thought it was poor. Because
it's good that he plays on the left end, so we're not wasting his ability.
Exactly, like the right. So the job.
I don't understand. I'm sorry, man. I don't understand how a midfielder can have fucking 15 touches in a game, and people saying that he had a good game because his running stats and his pressing stats or his anti-press stats, some anti-something stats were the highest in the league for them. I don't give a flying fuck. If my midfielder's not on the ball, I'm not in charge. I can't believe it.
So the job,
shit.
Right? No, it's not. It's not. All it is just a different way of playing football. And in this system, on the right side, primarily what you're about is running around.
Yeah, making space. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's attacking channels, it's defending channels, it's starting the press, and it's filling in spaces. And it's honestly one of the worst positions to play in a 4-3-3. I hate playing there because it's just literally you're just running yourself into the ground.
I would never give any of my players an instruction to just run up and down on the pitch. If you ain't going to get on the ball and do something with it, then just fuck off. It's incredible. I don't understand that tactic half time.
Because you're giving more space to other players. So with Kobe, who's a brilliant passer, able to break the lines, can do little shimmies, get past his man. If someone runs and unclogs that midfield for him by making a central to diagonal run, so he's clearing the centre, manipulating the block, it allows those players to perform more. It's really no different from what players like Didier Deschamps did for Zinedine Zidane, like many years ago. They're the one that are doing all the running, doing all the work. So players like mine, like you all you boys love Carrick. Carrick needed Fletcher and Park Ji-sung to do all of this to give him the time and space to be able to pick men out, right? Like Pogba needed this as well. Like where these players running off the ball, they're not running for no reason. Like they're doing it in order to open spaces that our ball players can hit. And so I understand that it doesn't make sense. At a midfielder, that's where you control the game and stuff. But you can also control the game by pushing people back. And that is what players like Mount and so on do.
Okay, it's interesting that. I was thinking about PSG, why Luis Enrique would want to get rid of Ugarte. especially when, I think PSG dominating their domestic football. But when it comes to the Champions League, they haven't won one, even though they got far and got to a final. And it's a lot of times because the midfield have to do a lot of work for the forwards. Like, remember, they had Neymar and Mbappe and someone else who wouldn't really track. And Messi, for example, those three. And everyone had to do the donkey work behind them. But now he's gone for two little guys, Vastinho and Neves, two little short Portuguese guys, because they're going to dominate the French league with possession and technique. But what happens when they need someone who's going to intercept the ball and need someone to do that work? Who else have they got in midfield? I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. So for them to get rid of Ugarte could be a mistake and could benefit us. It's about having, like you said, there's no more complete midfielders anymore in the game, I don't believe. The Brian Robsons, Roy Keanes, who can do a bit of everything. We've got players now who have specific attributes, specific strengths. And to see someone who's got a complete game, last person I can think of who I felt had a complete game of football in midfield,
Angel Gomez.
Was Yaya Toure. I thought he was fantastic.
Okay.
He used to play centre back. He played deep line midfielder. He could do what Busquets does, and he could play attacking midfielder as well. He had everything in his game, apart from really, I don't know if he was a real hardcore tackler or whatever, but he, to me, was a complete player in midfield because he could do a bit of everything. And that's what you want to see from someone coming in. I will say that's what makes Kobe as well a unique player, because when I see him next to Collier and all these other guys and even Hannibal, poor Hannibal, who's I felt was talented. When I see him around these guys, they can't do what he does. They don't have that complete game that he has. It's just a natural thing that he has, that he can. Even the other day against Fulham, I see him putting out his hand and saying, "This is my zone.
Yeah,
you can't come here, bro. I'm controlling the ball." And in tight areas as well, he's got a bit of something about him where he can keep the ball sticks and you trust him. So that's a really good player that I'm glad we have. And I see the same as Xerxes as well. He's got a lot about him like that, where he can keep the ball, slow it down, and when his stick gets to him, it sticks. But when you see Garnachos, the Rashfords, the Antonys,
Rasmus.
The Rasmus as well, sometimes you're a bit like, they're going to lose the ball, and they usually do. So, yeah, we want someone who's got a complete game, and I don't know how many midfielders in the Premiership are complete midfielders where they can do it.
Monday, just before we move on to Pellistri, you talked about Enrique and, is he making a mistake with Ugarte? PSG played in the final of their domestic cup, and Ugarte wasn't in the squad. And he was asked about it afterwards, and he said, "Yep, brilliant. Ugarte played the perfect game today. He didn't lose the ball once. He was really good up the pitch. He contributed. Best game that I've seen him play for PSG," which is massively unprofessional from Enrique, but it's fairly damning. Where the general consensus was that Ugarte could do nothing in the final third to contribute and was far too weak in his defensive duels, and that's why they're trying to get rid of him. So, and that's the French league. So we'll see how he gets on. But Mr. B, is there anything else on the menu tonight?
Yeah, it's just a Pellistri one, to be fair, and obviously we're trying to get as much money in as we can as quickly as possible. And this was a €6 million deal, not even pound deal, €6 million deal. I know a lot of people are losing their shit, but again, we've sent him to a weaker league where hopefully he'll progress. We've got a 45% sell-on clause inserted in that. I know we ain't going to have a buyback. Maybe they've inserted that as well, but he ain't coming back to us. So the fact that they've sent him to a shit league where he should be a star player, I think that makes perfect sense. We wouldn't have got more than that for him. What did we spend? What did we pay for him? €9 million, €10 million. So we would like to think that we would get an extra, maybe they can sell him for a 30. We get an extra 15, 16 on top of that. What are you guys thinking?
I mean, like, 30 million deals don't happen very often anymore. Like, what league's he gone to?
Greek.
Yeah, I mean, when was the last player signed 30 million from Greece? I mean, Mario Yardel, maybe? You're looking at 10 million maximum, I would think, as a sort of a Greek transfer.
So they get our money back.
Yeah, no, it's like Greenwood or something like that. You're not getting a huge amount of money back, no matter how well they do. But I think that with Pellistri, a large part of why people like him so much is that he's an international footballer, and he's done pretty well for Uruguay, despite them having an absolute clown of a manager with Bielsa. You would think that he'd be, because of Bielsa, you'd think he'd be very fit and he'd work well in a press. I saw him come on against Fulham last season, and he battled really well to eventually help Bruno get that goal. I don't think he's been given a fair shake of the tree, or whatever the expression is. But like where he plays, which appears to be on the right wing, Sancho, Anthony, Ahmad, all in front of him. I think it's a case of just trying to get some cash into the club so that we can go out and get better players. And I really wish him well in his career, but I don't think he was ever going to be a first team. I don't even think he was ever going to be a squad player, let alone a first team starter. And that's my take on it, Amondo.
Yeah, I don't know what you think, Mr. B, but yeah, I kind of agree with Mr. Bathtime. Mr. Bathtime, Mr. B.
I like
Mr. Yeah, is he like that? Is that more official? Mr. Bathtime. Mr. Bathtime. Like when you have letters after your name, we deserve rewards, don't we, for being so relentless with this podcasting every day of the week. Thank you, everybody. We take a bow. We got ourselves Pellistri, like you said, he's getting on in age. Opportunity, hasn't really had it to play consistent games. That's the only way you're going to see if he's good enough. I do think he's got something about him. He's got low center of gravity. He can turn, twist in different areas. I think I wish him well. I hope to see him blowing up in the Greek league and playing some Champions League football and all that kind of thing, and getting a nice move to a more relevant league where he can really sort of show what he's got. I think he's got a good player, and I wish him well in the future. I'm not as sad as I was with Angel Gomez or losing young talents like that. I was pretty sad about Zidane Iqbal, but I haven't heard anything about him since he left for the small team, So it's up to the player now. I mean, when the players get rejected, Dan Ashworth, bath time, but you've got to have the mental fortitude to come back from that and prove people wrong. And so hopefully he's a motivated guy, and hopefully he can say, right, I'm going to stick it up to all the people who doubted me. I'm going to work my socks off and prove that I've got something about him, and then he'll get a good move back to a bigger league in the future.
You're a right dickhead.
There's certain things about us that we get familiar about things. One of your
I know
your kryptonite bath time is the Dan Ashworth thing at the moment.
He's such a little goblin.
Yeah. We've all got it. We all got our weaknesses, and that's yours.
What is your weakness on Monday?
I've got
what gets you mad?
Timekeeping.
Timekeeping. Right. I'm going to air this on the show. I must admit, these two guys do so much behind the scenes. My weakness has been I'm sort of getting ribbed a few times for not put enough effort in with the show. These two do a lot. I tell you guys, you don't realize what goes on behind the scenes. So when my ears are burning some days at work or I'm coming home, probably because they're cussing me out. That's my kryptonite. I think I have to step out sometimes and put more work in, And these two are not afraid to tell you. Imagine Mr. and Mr. Bathtime and Mr. B telling you off and every day. Imagine that. That's my weakness.
It's good cop with me and Mr. B.
Yeah, exactly.
What's Mr. B's kryptonite? Swearing.
McTominay. Yeah.
Having discussed Manchester United players.
Yeah. McTominay. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll just put it out there. It's McTominay, man. But look, guys, we have to go. On Monday we'll be lighting up Saeed's channel in a little bit. Guys, so yeah, tune in for that. I'm interested to hear what the topic will be. I'm interested to hear what the scout's going to talk about this week. But, we'll save that for another time. But look, guys, thanks for watching. We will be back tomorrow. Hopefully there will be a little bit more movement. Give us something else to talk about from me, Mr. B. Bath time and the Monday.
Yabba. It's Yabba Forbes. Is my name. People keep calling me. That's another gripe I've got with you, Mr. B. You keep calling me on one day. It says Yabba Forbes.
Do you know what? I'm sorry. Now you've told me if every time I call you anything other than Yabba, pull me up, so then it will come to me.
So with the fines for swear jar and with the Yabba fine as well,
and mentions of Dan Ashworth.
We're all going
that.
Yeah, exactly. Oh god.
We're out. See you tomorrow. That's Notch.